Hi there, Miss Holly here at the entrance of our beach maple forest. You come right into see Mama Maple. And Mama Maple was named by a student about 16 years ago who said to me, Miss Holly, this tree is like the mama of the forest. And she's been known as Mama Maple ever since. So you can see how big she is. We estimate she's about 275 years old, and that means she was here before America was America. So let's take a look at Mama Maple. You can see she's got a huge trunk. I like to give her a hug. And then if you get up close here, you can see all these holes in Mama Maple where all kinds of insects lay their eggs. So Mama Maple is also a wonderful home to lots of animals. There's another hole way at the top of the tree. I don't know if you can see it there. And in that hole, we know that there are flying squirrels because we've seen them fly out of that hole before and land on another tree. So flying squirrels are nocturnal. We don't see them very often. If you keep walking around Mama Maple this way, we've got all these little areas underneath the tree where her giant roots are. You can find toads, you can find chipmunks, tons of ants. And then back here, if you look closely at these holes, you can see where we tapped Mama Maple in the past because she's a sugar maple. So we tap Mama Maple to be able to get her sap, and 40 gallons of sap equals 1 gallon of sugar maple syrup. So you can see how big she is. She's the mama of the forest, and we all love her.
Right now, and we have a ton of these mayaples. Now you may notice some of these mayaples out in the forest here, they grow in little clumps. And that's because they actually produce a fruit. So they'll drop their fruit just like any other plant will drop their seed, and it'll start to grow from there. The cool thing about these mayaples is this one right here is 1 year old. And I know that because it has one stem. This one right here, and you can kind of see where the fruit was attached, the mayapple itself is attached. This one is 2 years old. So these are biannual plants. They grow for 2 years. They drop their seed, and they start a new series of growth.
Who eats the mayaples?
Oh, all sorts of critters out here. We have, turkeys, we have squirrels, we have chipmunks, we have rabbits, we have deer. All sorts of animals will eat almost any kind of seed that's produced out in this forest, including acorns and chestnuts and beech nuts. Pretty cool, huh?
Thanks, Mr. Sean.
No problem.
To the vernal pond. Now we've got a couple of these vernal ponds out here on our property. And all vernal means is that it's a seasonal pond. So every spring and all winter long we get all sorts of precipitation in the form of rain or snow. Well, this is the lowest spot out in the forest. So just like we mentioned in the watershed videos that we talked about earlier, this is the forest watershed right here. So all the water collects down here in the vernal pond. Now the cool thing about this vernal pond, this pond provides habitat for all sorts of different reptiles and amphibians. It's a great breeding ground for many of the different toads and frogs that live out here, along with salamanders. Even some turtles are found out here sometimes, along with crayfish, dragonflies, caddisflies. And again, none of those animals could live out in the forest if it wasn't for these vernal ponds. So I actually found a home from a crayfish here. They burrow down into the mud here, and then they actually build what looks like a little castle, which is pretty cool. So it's not coming out right now, but they will.
Mr. Sean, I found something. Come over here.
What'd you find, Holly?
Look on this tree. Can you see any insects on that tree? Do you see it?
No.
Look at that. Look at that moth camouflaged.
Holy cow. Whoa, there it goes.
I want to show you something else.
That's pretty cool.
Right here on this tree, you've got a bunch of poison ivy growing. So poison ivy grows in around this vernal pond. In fact, there's a lot. You can see leaves of 3. But right around this poison ivy plant are also plants that will help you to get rid of your poison ivy. These are called touch-me-nots, and they grow where it's really damp, really moist. And if you listen carefully, you can hear the stem kind of pop. So if you think you've gotten into poison ivy, look around for some touch-me-nots. They've got some toothed leaves, and you can smash them up really well in your hand, and you can feel the liquid come out, and you can rub them where you think you touched the poison ivy.
Sweet.
So if you know what poison ivy looks like, you can protect yourself.
Noticing some stuff moving around in the pond here. You see the little ripples forming. You can also see how high the water gets in here sometimes. So if I were to zoom in, you can see how some of the bark has fallen off and rotted away. So the water actually gets that high sometimes. So slowly this water evaporates or sinks in to the ground. We actually have kind of a little stream back here a ways, and it actually flows down to a lower point in the forest. What you doing over there, Miss Holly?
Hi, Mr. Sean. I'm using my tree ID book to ID this leaf. In fact, I think I found that this is a northern red oak. And I really like to use a lot of different kind of resources to determine what kind of trees we have. So what you need is a leaf, some kind of leaf book, or if you're really into technology, you can use the Leaf Snap app, which you can download. And then all you need to do is find a leaf, like, let's see, like this one right here. You take a snap of it, a picture of it. It has to be on a white background. Let's see if we can make it work. Take its picture. Make sure you're not in the shadow. Snap it. And that tells me that this is from a beech tree. So these are beech leaves. And I have a couple other leaves here that we can check out. In fact, this one right here is really quite amazing. This is a sugar maple. So can you believe that this is how big Mama Maple once was?
Crazy.
So get yourself a book, get yourself an app, head out to the forest and see what kind of trees you have in your neighborhood. Why are you down there with that dead log, Mr. Sean?
Because I like looking underneath the log to see what lives underneath here. Again, this is a great little habitat for all sorts of different animals. When I say animals, I mean insects and other invertebrates. They like it because it's damp, it's dark, and it's just a great place for them to live. So lots of times we'll flip these things over. Oh, there's a salamander right there.
Snatch it up, Mr. Sean.
Pretty sweet. So salamanders are cool because they're actually really good indicators. They tell you if an ecosystem's healthy. So depending on the types of amphibians and reptiles you have, you can actually see if your ecosystem's in good shape or not. So he's trying to get out. He doesn't like being held right now. Oh, there's another one right there.
Oh, yeah.
Very cool. I'll put those guys back.
These guys used to be, people call them fire lizards, because when they would burn logs in a fire, they would crawl out. And so people assumed that they were fire lizards, which is a crazy way to think about it.
So you can see this hole right here. Something probably lives down in here underneath. In fact, it's hollow all the way through.
What could it be?
I don't know, maybe the salamanders are living in there. It could be mice.
A little rodent?
Yeah. Let's see, I'll flip this up a little bit. See if I can see what it is. I don't think it's gonna.
It looks
But
like
you
a
can
little
see
rodent
there's
track.
a little trail though going all through here, which is pretty sweet. Cool.
All right, that was a good find, Mr. Sean.
Not bad. All right, other things to look at if you do flip over a log. And the cool thing about flipping over a log, I mean, everybody's got some logs in their yard or at the park that they can roll over and find some cool stuff. But if you've ever noticed that, this log does not look like a freshly cut log, say like that. So what's happening here is slowly over time, all the different types of plants and animals that live in here are slowly decomposing. It means breaking down this log. And eventually all the nutrients that were in this log are gonna be put back into the soil here, and more plants will grow from it. In fact, you can see the beginnings of some plants. We've got some mosses growing right here. There's our salamander again right there. Let's see if I break this open, if there's anything in there. No, but you can definitely tell the amount of moisture that's stuck in this log. So it's, summertime, it's pretty dry. So this offers a nice place, a nice little retreat for lots of the different animals that live out here. I'm gonna roll this back over. Make sure that I don't crush the salamanders. Set it back down nice and softly. There we go. A nice little trail system out here at our school. It kind of keeps everybody into one space so we're not trampling over all the rest of the vegetation that's trying to grow. If you look, this is kind of compressed down. There's not a whole lot growing on there. That's because we're compacting the soil. Holy mackerel, look at this.
What's that noise?
A turkey. And I know it's a turkey because look what I just found. A turkey feather. So we have lots of the turkey out here, the eastern turkey. They roost in the trees at night, and it's a common sight for the school kids here at WMAS to see them, even on the playground, sometimes inside the playground, which is pretty cool. So, turkey feather, I'll leave this here.
Good find, Mr. Sean.
Not bad.
Forest can show us lots of secrets.
Definitely. So we're coming to another section of the trail here. We actually had to construct a bridge because, as you can see, again, this is a low-lying area in the forest. So as that spring rain and the summer melt, or I'm sorry, the winter melt comes, this area gets flooded out. So this area does offer, again, great habitat for several different reptiles and amphibians.
I hope you enjoyed our hike through the West Michigan Academy of Environmental Science Forest. All of these things we did today, all of the trees that we showed you, you can find those in your backyard, down the road at a park. Take a field trip with your family, see what kind of trees you can identify. And don't forget to hug a tree.